How's it going? My name is Tim. Welcome to my shop, and today I am going to try to learn some new joinery. And this is the joint that I'm going to tackle today. In Japanese, this would be the Shihou Hozo Tsugi. Apologies on the pronunciation, but it is basically a version of the impossible dovetail. Okay, so here we go with the joint. So I basically have two pieces here, just square, about 1.5 inches, 2 inches or so. And what I've done is just marked a reference face on both of them. And this is going to be pretty important, so I'm going to try to use that reference face and only that reference face to mark out the joinery when I cut it. I don't know if you can see the marks, but I also have the triangles on that face and that face, just so I know which ends of the boards go together. While I do some initial marking and setup of the joint, we'll just talk a little bit more about the joint itself. Basically, this joint is the impossible dovetail with straight tenons, I guess you'd call them, instead of dovetails. It's a joint meant for joining two boards end to end in kind of a decorative way. You could potentially cut this joint as sort of a stamp, where you'd have a plus sign on one side and then the negative of that on the other, and they would slide straight together. You might call this a mortise and tenon splice, but I think this way looks a little bit more fun, a little more impressive. So I'll talk also a little bit more about why I'm doing this. When I first started woodworking, I was learning new things every day. Every tool was brand new to me. All the basic techniques that I take for granted now, I had to learn. So every time that I picked up a piece of wood or every time I was in the shop, I was figuring new things out. And I loved that. At the moment, I think I'm at the point now that I'm fairly proficient with all the tools, and I'm able to knock out most pieces without much trouble, which is great. I like being at this point in my woodworking, but I also get really excited learning new techniques or learning new things, or at least applying my skills in ways that I've never done before. So all that's probably just a long way to say that I think I'm a little bit bored and I need to try something a little bit new. I'm certainly not an expert, so I'm not bored because I'm not challenged. I'm just bored because my mind doesn't have some new things to learn. So today, I'd like to start a new series of videos, I guess. I'll call them something like Learning New Joinery, I don't know, something like that. I think I get stuck in a rut with just a few basic joints, so mortise and tenons, half laps, dovetails, and then branching out to try some more exotic joints. It's not only going to challenge my technique, but also give my brain a little bit of a workout. You can see my sawing technique here. So I'm sawing basically the same way I would a mortise and tenon or a half lap. I will make a little chisel notch on the far side, start sawing on the far side, and then slowly drop the handle of the saw, creating a kerf across the top. And then I'll slowly work my way down the front line, flip the piece around, do the same thing, so work my way down the front line, and then I will flatten the saw and take out the mountain in the middle. I use a fret saw just to take away most of the waste, and this took quite a while with a thick board, but I got it done. Then I go ahead and pair my baseline with a chisel, and this is where a nice deep marked baseline helps. I can use that as a reference for my chisel when I'm pairing out the baseline, so I pare down until everything is the same consistency. You see a little cameo by my daughter here, who was always excited to either be on camera or be in the shop. And it's very distracting watching her dance while I work. All right, so while she was dancing, I was transferring my marks just like you would a dovetail to the other side. I thought this was better than actually using the bevel gauge again to mark out the joints. And here we go with just sawing the other side. And here it's important again to remember which side's your waist side, so you don't have a big gap. Sped up here, you can really see the way I used the saw, which way is it tilted. And again, back to the fret saw, pop out the waist. And then pare down to the lines. And the initial fit was a little bit tight, mainly in the outside of the little corners. So I just took a block plane, a rabbiting block plane actually, to thin out the tenons a little bit and gave it another test fit, and it turned out pretty good. Finally, just to clean it up, I will hit it with a smoothing plane, and I will let you enjoy those nice smooth sounds. Okay, so how'd I do? I might give myself a B-. I mean, it went together, obviously. It's not perfect. It's a little gappy, but it didn't go together right off the saw, which is kind of what you aim for, I guess, in a hand-cut joint. Things I could do better, I think. Maybe if I used some sort of vertical guide for the saw, I might have been able to saw a little more plumb. Pairing the baselines, I nicked the sides every now and then. But that being said, I think it's pretty good. Okay, so that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Hopefully I can do more of these, and we'll see you later.